Yes. What's going on, Lions? Of course, it's another Tuesday. We're here in the building, as the boy Rudy LaRose, the connection catalyst, would always say. But we are here, of course, for another Tuesday evening, 6:30 for another CF Talks. That's right, Confidence Factor. We are in the man cave, and of course, every Tuesday we come together to have heart level conversations that lead to transformation. And tonight, of course, we talk about heart level conversations. We're going to be talking about our beating hearts. We're going to talk about, someone special. We just celebrated over the weekend, Mother's Day. And so, of course, we're going to be talking about some of the lessons that we learned from our mother. We're going to be really kind of digging into some of the things that have moved us in our personal lives, in our business, and, what things have made us successful, what things have made us have to reflect on our life. I mean, it's going to be a fun conversation. So we want you guys to join in with us, of course, tonight. We want to hear from you some of the lessons you've learned from your mother, and let's celebrate moms tonight. Let's honor them. Let's celebrate them. Let's talk about how they've made an impact in our life. So I'm excited. My name is Darian Hill, and I'm going to go ahead and, of course, before I start the show, bring on my co-host with us tonight. We're going to have a panel discussion. A couple of guys in the community is going to be joining us tonight. I'm looking forward to seeing them, to have them share their lessons from their mom as well. So it's going to be an exciting conversation. So join in. We want to hear from you. Engage. So without further ado, of course, let me go ahead and bring up the fellow Lions on the panel. First of all, I want to bring up the great doctor. Listen, when you're feeling a little bit sick, when you're feeling a little low, this is the man that you need to call. He's going to give you the right type of medicine. You heard me right. The right type of medicine to transform you back into good health, good wisdom. So go ahead and bring up the great Dr. B on the mic. That's Bobby B. Come on, Bobby B.
Yo. Today is a great day, and it is the best day of my life. The prescription is always the same, brother. The prescription is always the same. Connect to the divine, and you will find all the answers you're looking for.
Man.
Hey, prescription every time. Same prescription. Connect to the divine. There you go.
Listen, same prescription, but sometimes you just need to have a little Bobby B energy. You know what I'm saying?
That's it.
You need to connect with the B on the phone. You need to connect with him on the heart level. Be sure to reach out to the great Bobby B. He's always there to serve and give you the right prescription. You heard me? All right. Beautiful stuff. Let's go ahead and bring up our next lion. Of course, he's known as Mr. Level.
Lineup tonight. We got a massive lineup.
Man, massive lineup. He's known as the Level Up. I'm saying he's an author. He's a coach. He's somebody that continues to break barriers, transforming his life, but also transforming.
Wait, hold on, D. I gotta cut you off. I gotta cut you off because I think the producer's coming up too.
Oh yeah. What you hold on? I'm bringing up. We're bringing up the producer, man. We're bringing up the producer. We have the whole panel tonight.
You gotta bring up the producer next, though, man. He's a veteran. He got time in.
All right. I see. See, this is what we do. Sometimes we just kind of have to take a step backwards and make sure we kind of refresh it a little bit. That's all good. So, like I said, we got some more lions coming up. This is going to be a fun panel discussion. We're honoring the moms tonight. Lessons from the mothers, fellas. If you're joining us, of course, put hashtag heart level. Let us know where you're tuning in from. Of course, I'm in the great Orlando, Florida. Bobby B's in the great Jacksonville. But we're going to bring up another Orlando, Florida native, right? Of course, the producer, he's, somebody who's always, making sure that we shine. When you talk about making sure that you show up confidently, the confident. I'm trying to remember this. Showing up confidently, right, on camera. Showing up confidently on camera, right? Whether it be visuals, whether it be photos, just all around this amazing brother and lion in this community. We love him. I want to go ahead and, of course, introduce none other than the great Lamont Gwen. Come on, champion. What's going on, producer?
What's going on, fellas? What's going on? Yes. Thank you, Bobby. Listen, my inner jerk was sparking on all cylinders.
Hey, yo, listen.
I was like, wait a minute, bro. How you going to put me in that?
Yeah,
I
man.
appreciate you, man.
I had my whole stuff worked out today, man. I was bringing you up last because you know you're the anchor. You know what I mean? You're the foundation that makes everything happen. You know what I'm saying?
I appreciate that. I appreciate that, man. It's a great day. It's a great day.
Yeah.
I'm glad to be here. I'm
Yeah.
really excited about this conversation because although I don't have my mom here anymore, the lessons that I learned from her were invaluable. So I'm excited about this conversation tonight.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I love that. I can't wait to hear some of your shares, man. You always bring, you know, fire with your shares, you know, very heartfelt stories, warm stories. Man, I can listen to Lamont all day.
Oh, I appreciate that, brother.
Definitely. So like we said, we're here talking about lessons from our mom before we talk about who we are. And of course, you know, a little more about the show details. You know, of course, I want to bring up all the Lion Men tonight. So you heard me mention, you know, leveling up, and we all need to level up in our lives, whether it be personally, professionally, in different areas. You know, you got to have a level up brother. You have somebody who constantly pushes you to level up, and this brother always is striving to overcome obstacles. He's striving to level up. He's striving to help everyone around him to be able to level up. He's an author. He's a coach. He's a speaker, and he's a transformer. We're honored to have this brother lock arms with us in this community to help over 5 million men to be able to transform and grow. So, of course, I'm speaking none other than the great Javon Dr. Love Jones in the building. Hey, I think you on mute, my brother. We can't hear you. Okay.
Oh, my bad. I'm here. Can you hear me?
We can hear you now. We can.
All right. I just felt like y'all gave me the Steve Harvey treatment just now, where like you almost announced my name and then you changed it up. Like, you know, I'm just sitting there. I'm pumped. Like, okay, he's about to come. I'm about to get in the game. I'm about to get in the game. And then you just changed up on me. I'm like,
don't worry. Hey, I'm just making sure you stay ready to stay ready, man. You know what I'm saying? Making sure you stay ready, stay ready. All right. So go ahead, man. So I think we have I told you we having fun tonight, man. I told you we all excited to share. Let me say this quickly with Javon. So I believe we have Wayne that will be joining us tonight. And is Wayne in the back office? Is Wayne in the back? Fantastic. We're just gonna go out and bring Wayne up, man. But before we just bring, good. He said he's here. We're gonna bring Wayne up. But let me say something about Wayne, man. You know. Listen, in every community, you have someone who is when you think of the person, you think of a wisdom, right? You think of wisdom. You think of just a calmness, you know, calmness in the storm. You know what I'm saying? When you think of this particular brother, you think of like the elder who you sit at the feet and you listen to the stories and listen to all the wisdom. And we're fortunate to have someone like Wayne with us, who he's a world changer. You know, he's a world changer. And Wayne is committed to the big things, you know, changing countries, changing continents, changing the world. And so we are honored to have this lion here with us. And so I want to introduce you guys, of course, to the great Wayne Moody, who will be joining us tonight. The life coach, dream builder. What's going on, man?
Hey, I'm amazed. I'm excited. It's always great to be in a space with greatness. So I celebrate each and every one of you guys, because you guys are my motivation. You guys are my inspiration.
Oh man. You see, he knows what the right things to say, man. He just but he's heartfelt. He means it. He's not just saying that. He really means it. So we're honored that you said yes to join us tonight, man, to bring your greatness to the table, to just make this buffet just so much sweeter, boy. You know what I'm saying? This buffet tonight is gonna be amazing, right? So thank you so much for being here. And of course, fellas, again, you know, we're Confidence Factor. We're in the Confidence Man Cave. This is CF Talks, having a hot level conversation that leads to transformation. Tonight, fellas, we're talking about one of our heartbeats, of course. That's our mothers. We're talking about lessons from our mom. And I want you guys to really be sitting back and just be thinking about, you know, your mom, whether she's here, whether she's, you know, transition. Think about some of the beautiful memories, you know, the beautiful memories that you've had, the things that she has shared. And we want to hear from you guys. So, you know, in the comment section, as we're just kind of talking, having a great conversation about our moms, what we've learned, you know, let's hear from you guys as well. and we'll bring up some of the questions you guys up on the screen or some of the comments you have on the screen. And we want to read those and engage with you guys as well. So of course that's gonna be fun. So fellas, this past week has been we've been great. Our last show was on fire. We had a great guest last week. And I don't know if any of you guys want to kind of share anything from your experience from last week. You want to share like, hey, what was your win for this past week? Before we jump into the discussion to this, kind of want to hear from the fellas, man.
All right, I'll jump in first.
Yeah, Dr. Love Joe, level up, bro.
Let's go. One thing I got from that show was Mr. Robinson dropped a lot of gems. Jersey, and the beautiful thing that he said. One of the things that I grabbed from it is one, the discipline that it takes that he talked about, which I started incorporating myself. Folk don't wake up, don't even touch the phone. I've always knew that, but that was a great reminder. But also not just to do that, but to literally envision your day. Just take a few minutes to just create your day in your mind and stay true to it and visualize it, and then journal some things out. So between that and learning how to stay calm in a room full of chaos, those are the things that stuck out to me gem wise. And my win for the week is the fact that I'm here, I'm present. I could be anywhere in this world, I could be doing anything, but the fact that I'm here in this presence among greatness is always a win for me.
No, I love that. Fellas, any shares, any wins this week? Anything that you took away from last week's show?
From last week's show, what I learned, a couple of things. One was what Javon touched on, was about putting that cell phone to the side. So I didn't take it out of my room. I put it on a dresser that's on the other side of the room. And when I woke up, being able to go straight into meditation, journaling, all of that was just it supercharged my day. So that's one of the things. And then what I found interesting was when he talked about the idea of him wanting to get 2,700 doors. Yeah. And what he did is he found the guy who had already done it, and he partnership with him, brought him out of retirement. And what that taught me is there are people out there that have done what I'm trying to do. And why not try to partner with people so that you don't have to go through some of the challenges that people have gone through. You can actually level up quicker by reaching out to people to help. So that's one of the things. There's a couple of things that I got from him.
No, I love that. I love that. You talked about leverage, talked about collaboration. That's what this community is all about. And again, if we lock arms and really reach out and connect with people, even one-on-one, you learn more about what people do, and you never know. That one connection could be the one connection that you need to be able to move things forward in your life, whether it be personal and professional. I want to just give a big shout out to Sean for tuning in, of course. He's here tonight, Sean Flemings. What's going on, brother? Listen, if you need the link to join us tonight, man, we'd love to have you on the panel. So let us know. We'll go ahead and drop the link in the chat section here for you. If you want to join us, we'd love to have you on board in this discussion. So big shout out to Sean for being here tonight. So yeah, let's keep this chain rolling. Bobby, what you got, man? Last week, win for the week. What you got?
Yeah, man. Well, for the show, it was definitely some great reminders. I'm always, in the beginning, I used to think when we're talking about self-development or self-mastery, that there was one way, right? We're always looking for that one secret on how to get from where you are to where you want to be. And I've learned that in the self-development space, especially, you have to pick and choose, eat the meat, spit out the bones, right? For the things you want to keep and the things you don't want. So one of the things like Javon said, just keeping the cell phone away. That's a great practice. For me, I just use my cell phone differently. When I first grab in the morning, I don't do text message, email. The only thing I do is I go straight to Bible app to get my scripture first. And then I go into my music or books or meditation. So I use my phone differently, but I don't jump into the social media side.
Yeah,
I definitely get it. But I know when I first started, I was trying to do like no phone in the morning, but I had everything I needed in my phone. It was my alarm. It was this, I was that. So when he was talking about the different things about hey, I'll send you an alarm clock and, just do it differently. I thought that was very interesting. But for me, I've learned that, I can do things my way. You eat the meat, spit out the bones. And sometimes somebody gives you a really great tip and you can just tweak it a little bit. So that was really good. And what I got most, my win for the week was, like Lamont said, really speaking with Robert behind the scenes was really cool too. That was a great benefit because we got a chance to speak a little bit more and go a little bit more in depth about what he's doing and how he's doing it. And it was just phenomenal. So, my win was just listening in on, like Lamont said, someone accomplished something already that I'm looking to do. And so you can just, they've already blazed that trail, just follow behind the path that they led, because success leaves clues, right? So that's my share.
Success leaves clues. I love that. Success leaves clues. And I think ultimately what you're saying is true, Bobby. It's like, we can listen to someone, an expert or someone's viewpoint or something, but, clearly you have someone who has the discipline to be able to look at their phone in the morning and follow your own path, right? There's a lot of people, unfortunately, who don't have that discipline, but you understood ultimately the principle that he's trying to teach is to really, invest in you. Spend that first day investing in you, and you're already doing that. So kudos to your brother for just being an example for that. Wayne, what's going on, champion? Talk to us. You weren't here last week, of course. I don't know if you listened to the show last week, but talk to us.
I didn't listen, but I'm hearing reference to what he talked about, the first moments of the morning, right? And if you know me, my first meeting every day is with the executive director.
Yes.
And like Bobby, the phone is a part of meeting with the executive director because where my bed is and I watch the wall before I go to sleep are 2 vision boards. So I open my eyes and the first thing I see are the vision boards. And then the phone again, my meditation and everything else reference to stepping into the boardroom with the executive director, which is the source, which is God. And I've learned that when you step into the room of greatness, you don't speak. You wait until you're told to speak, right? So I usually go into a place of silence and listen. And there are 2 books that I sleep with in the night in my bed. My gratitude journal and just my journal of my thoughts. Those go to me to bed. But I am so much excited about those moments because I follow the pattern of the great teacher, Jesus, who withdrew himself at the end of the day and who rose while it was yet dark. And that's a good pattern to follow because if I go to sleep early, I will get the rest that I need. And then when I rise, I'll be very much energetic to actually just go in. So by the time I finish the meeting with the executive director, I have my orders to go for the day.
Yeah. I love that. And fellas, as you're listening, I mean, it's so important that we take the time to, invest in ourselves first, right? Before we give over ourselves to the world and to technology. This is kind of what the tenet that the fellows are talking about. So, I honor you guys for, saying yes to yourself, and of course, making sure that you spend that time to really build yourself up first, right? Fill your cup up first so you can serve the world from the overflow is what it's saying, right? That's what it said. That's a beautiful thing. And one of the things we understand here in Confidence Factor, to be able to have the level of confidence factor, you got to first, like I said, put something in. That's one of the ways to transform is to invest that time in you, invest that time in your mind. I forget the quote Benjamin Franklin says, if you empty your purse into your mind mind will fill your pockets with gold. That's one of his quotes that I saw recently. Yeah, that's right. It's a powerful quote. But listen, of course, we're here to talk about lessons from our mom. And I know Sean says given 20 minutes, he'll be joining us. If any of you guys tonight want to join in the panel discussion, let us know in the chat. This is an open panel forum tonight. We're just going to have, fun conversations about, lessons that we have from our mom. And again, if you want to join us, if not, feel free to comment in the comment section. Let us know some of the lessons you've learned. We bring up on the screen, we discuss it, we'll call you out, and we'll share. But before we jump into that, one of the things I'm remiss in sharing, about who we are. And, in this community, I want to make sure everybody's clear as to what is it that we're doing here in this community? Why are we here? Why are you even here? And, we here at Confidence Factor, we believe in bringing men together so that we can empower and uplift each other, right? We believe in providing a space, a safe space for men where we can have these heart level conversations that lead to transformation. You see, there's an enemy that exists, and that enemy is what we call the lid, right? States of loneliness, which men tend to try to go into doing things alone, isolation, and also these inner feelings, these small conversations that say we don't matter, or contribution doesn't matter, or say doesn't matter, right? We feel like we don't matter. And then oftentimes we go through the journey of life and we meet with obstacles, we meet with challenges as we're trying to, as Mr. Dr. Love Jones would say, level up from that, making that first dollar in business, or $10,000, or that next $1 million, or $10 million. We have to level up, or just to be able to transform the traumas that we've dealt with in our life, to transform those things that we're struggling with. Instead of stuffing those things in, we want to have a space where you can transform it by speaking and sharing and expressing yourself to fully be free and have fulfillment. So, we use something called a SMART principles. As the fellows were talking about this today, is the first principle is self-mastery, right? And self-mastery is all about, number one, self, investing in self. You hear Wayne talk about connecting to the source, right? The executive director, he checks in with the executive director every single morning, being in a state of gratitude. These are rituals and things that you do to fill your own cup. Got to have that self-mastery, build your self-image, your self-esteem, because without that, literally everything else crumbles. You got to have the foundation. So we believe in self-mastery. We also believe in accountability. Listen, this is the thing that allows us to achieve the goal. Oftentimes, left to ourselves, we have all these lofty goals in life. We have all these things that we want to accomplish. But if you really were to be honest with yourself, a lot of the goals get unaccomplished. Why? Because, it's so easy to, right, say no to yourself. It's so easy to say, hey, I'll do it tomorrow, right? It's so easy to listen to that voice that says, yeah, well, somebody already wrote a book, right? Somebody already said that. Somebody did that. Who's going to listen to you anyway, right? That course is not going to sell, right? It's so easy to get that disappointing voice. And so having somebody else to be able to help to, be a guiding force, a drive, a larger voice than your smaller voice can be so powerful. In fact, the Training and Development Institute basically said that your odds of reaching your goals increases by 95% when you have accountability and community. That's powerful. It's powerful. So if there's anything else that we don't provide, this one thing will transform your life. This is worth millions and millions of dollars right here, accountability. And last but not least, of course, the resources and tools. We want to invest in you, making sure that you're prepared with all the tools you need. Some of the tools were already shared tonight, where the guys are using to build their self-mastery. We bring in experts that's going to share some nuggets to help you to take information, and you transform that information into implementation. Implementation gets you to results. And that's what we're here. We want to impact the lives of over 5 million men, and you are part of that process. So joining us every Tuesday, of course, 6:30 for these discussions. And of course, we have our upcoming Unleash Your Riches mastermind that's coming up on July 10th. Guys, get ready. This is going to be amazing. We're going to take this a little bit more intimate, more deep dive. There's a curriculum, there's a structure where you guys are going to transform in whatever area that you deem that's important to you. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get this conversation started. We're talking about lessons from our mom. And I want to just kind of go around the room and kind of ask you guys what's on your heart to share. Okay, so we'll do a first round, and I'm just going to choose someone, and we can go from there. So Wayne, I'm going to ask you, as the wisdom. We want to start off with that wisdom. So share with us, some of the thoughts you have when you think of your mom, and some of the things you've learned, and some of the things you continue to implement in your life right now. Let's talk about that. Love to hear from you.
Well, when I think of my mom, the first thing that comes to mind is food was always on the table. There was no time I was wondering whether there was going to be something on the table. There was always something on the table. And in hindsight, now when I look back, I realized that she had to be navigating to make sure that something was on the table, but I was just nonchalant. But there was always food on the table. And talk about someone that was hardworking, someone who, as far as the labor that she did, because she would do laundry for folks, She would actually cook for folks, and she would just work hard. She was always that woman that was working and being productive. So when I think of my mom, I think of someone that did a lot with nothing. Because, you know, they say until you actually grow up, you can look back and see what you really were. Reference to navigating through, not living in the upper echelon of the society, but yet you were being taken care of. I must say, one of the things that I learned from my mom is just how a caregiver she was. Because I remember one time there was a lady that actually had done something reference to one of my sisters. And boy, I tell you, my mom went like a warrior, and she gave that woman a whipping. And we always laugh about it when we think about it, and we think about my mom. And you know, my mom lived until she was 44 years old, very young. And there was a situation with her. It was a situation where she was at an event with my younger brother, one of my second youngest brothers. And there was an altercation which resulted in her having to go to the hospital, and she never came home again. So I lost my mom at 14. And I was just showing my cousin just a while ago that the anger and the hate that was there in me, it took a transformation in my own life to go to a place of compassion, reference to the situation that had actually happened, because it was an altercation with a police officer. So there was a part of me that just hated police, because it was an incident with the police. But, you know, as I reflect on the things that she taught me and who she was, because for nights, I remember for like a few months after my mom was gone, I would go to sleep hoping that it was a nightmare, it was a dream, but it wasn't. But as I think of my mom today, I think of a woman that was a pillar of strength, a woman that has given me the tenacity to go forth. One of the things that I learned, like I said earlier, she was a protector, and she would literally protect her chicks, that is her children. So I yield the mic.
Yeah, listen, thank you so much for that share, my brother. You know, this is one of the great things about having these conversations is that, you know, I've talked to you, Wayne, on multiple fronts, different things, but, you know, to hear that's something I didn't even know, you know, and I know, you know, going through life, you know, I'm sure that impacted you in different ways. And, you know, I talked about trauma early on tonight. And for a lot of us, we deal with different traumas pertaining to, you know, things that happen in the early years with a family, whether they're here or not here. You know, there's things that we have to deal with. So my question for you, because I know this is going to serve a lot of fellas, and you know, it was just so God sent that I asked you to go first. My question to you is, you know, and I want you to think about it from a universal standpoint. You know, how did you deal with a lot of the hate, or maybe the resentment, or the feelings that you carried inside as a man? How do you, or have you still dealing with some of that today?
Well, you know, I would coach my brothers, right? My younger brothers, because I'm a middle child. I have three sisters, and then I came on the scene. I would coach my younger brothers, and I would tell them, I said, there is coming a day he's going to be able to not do what he normally does. And there was vengeance in my heart. I was planning with every fiber of my being, because my youngest brother, who was less than 2, have never known my mother. So, but 14, 15, 17, 18, and then I had an amazing experience spiritually. And that spiritual experience was what thrust me on becoming a world changer, because I had an experience where I went to a meeting and the speaker was challenging those who were there. He said, the world isn't a dilemma. The world needs to change, but the only way the world can change is if people change. And the only way people can change is if they're connected to God, their source. And I'm like, okay, I'm in. I want to be a world changer. And at 18, I decided that's what I wanted to do. Honestly, there was a work that was being done in my heart spiritually. And about a year or so after, that guy was found with a bullet in his head.
Wow.
I wasn't the one that did it, but honestly, all I felt for him when they announced his death was compassion. But there was a work that was done. So I went from hating him, planning to execute him, to where when that transformation occurred in my life, my mindset shifted and I was able to feel compassion, even though I was not in the space where he was. But for me, forgiveness, there's a course in Miracles talks about forgiveness, right? And what it says, if there is someone in the jail, there has to be a jailer. And when we refuse to forgive, we put someone in jail, but we're the jailer. But in order for me to experience freedom, I got to open the jail and let the perpetrator go. And it doesn't change what happened, but it changed my perspective as far as my future. So I will not keep anyone in prison and be a jailer. I don't want to be a jailer.
Wow. I love how these conversations shape up, man. They're always so on point. Because what you're sharing there, Wayne, I want to speak to some of the men in the community who are listening. I know that we've all dealt with situations in our life, maybe with people, maybe with our family, and there's a space that we don't want to let it go. There's a space that we can't forgive. And Wayne, shortly before I move on to the next person, I want you to talk about the importance to the fellas, to the Lions, the importance of releasing that from your heart, because some of us are stuck where we are in our finances, we're stuck in our relationship, we're stuck in our personal growth because we refuse to let go or forgive. How important is that?
Honestly, I believe I'm a conduit of forgiveness, of love, because I'm connected to the source of love and forgiveness, right? And I want to switch a bit because I had to do forgiveness work with my mother after she left. And the forgiveness work was the fact that as a young person before my mom died, as a kid who was like 9, 10, 11, 12 years old, right? My mom, my grandmother, and my aunt, because it was a matriarchal system that I was a part of. And in a situation where they were actually opening up themselves to help others, there were two guys that were older than me that were a part of the family situation and dynamics. And because of that situation, I experienced some abuse, mentally and emotionally, and some sexual abuse, right? It was not until I was grown, after I was married, I had to go back and do forgiveness work reference to those women in my life. And as a part of the process, what I did, I went through some help getting the support. I literally wrote letters to each of them. Now they're gone. I wrote letters to each of them saying, I forgive you. This is what happened. And I release it. I went from the forgiveness to experience the healing, to experience the redemption. And the word says, let the redeemer of the Lord say so. So now as I've experienced the redemption, I can talk about it without feeling any pain, any anger. There's no residue. If a wound has been healed, you're going to have the scar, but it won't hurt. So it's a work that you have to do. I had to do the work, and I continue to do the work reference to stuff that comes up, because forgiveness is a daily work. It's a daily work. I got to forgive myself. I got to forgive the person that might just come at me in a way that is not appropriate for me. But as far as dealing with the issues of forgiveness from the past, I got to deal with it, because if I refuse to forgive, brethren, I block all of that which should flow through me.
Yeah. Wow. Powerful share, my brother. Thank you for your vulnerability. Thank you for, just being a stand for, using your story to help others in the community heal. You shared a bunch of things that we can have topics on each one of those things. I mean, it's so powerful. So Wayne, thanks again, man. Let's keep it rolling. So we heard some lessons about, protection, dedication. So let's go on to the doctor. We want a prescription here. We want to hear what kind of prescriptions that your mom, provide to you, Doc.
I love it, man. Hey, listen, just listening to you talk, right, about the group and what the group provides, it's so exciting. I was listening to you talk about the accountability piece, and I'm thinking about, the lid, right? How we feel lonely, isolated, feel like we don't matter. And it's crazy because, when you're coming up, you're so young, you're so confident, so cocky, and you have that immortality nature to you, right? And so I was thinking about like how we all had different stories of how we wanted to write a book, right? And we got together after years of saying we wanted to write a book to actually get the book written. And so I'm thinking about that, and it comes to mind because one of the greatest lessons for me, I put in the book, which came from my mother, which was repetition. And it's so cool because, I listen sometimes when people say, oh, our parents didn't teach us this and our parents didn't teach us that. And a lot of times I'm thinking to myself, well, some of the things your parents did teach you, you didn't even do. So, you're out here complaining about something you didn't get, but the stuff you did get, some of it you're not using. But that was one of the greatest things that my mother afforded me, was this idea of repetition. And what's so cool and why I bring it up now is because here it is from a child. This is something that was put in the back of my mind when, my mother said, hey, did you do your homework? Yeah, I did homework. And I try to hand it to her because I want to go outside. I don't want to stick around. I want to go outside with my friends. And my mother's like, hold on, let me check the work. She goes to check the work. And she says, hey, you got 2 wrong. I'm like, what? Which 2? She's not telling me nothing. You got to find it. So I got to start from scratch, do the work again. And she said, okay, good job. You still got 1 wrong. I'm like, oh, this is crazy. So I got to go back in. But then, it's something about that repetition and going through it indirectly, whether my mother knows she was doing it or not, but she's building that paradigm, that mindset of jump back in, do it again, jump back in, do it again. And then when it works, do it some more. So that idea is one of the ideas I got from my mother, which is about repetition. Know your stuff front and back. And in order to do that, sometimes you got to go over and over and over. You may take a little bit longer than everyone else, but when you know it, it's going to be so embedded in you that you can do it backwards, forwards, standing up in the closet, blindfolded, spin me around, doesn't matter once you know what you're doing. And so sometimes that repetition, and now I'm listening to the greats, the great Bob Proctor, Sandy Gallagher, and all these different teachers talk about how important repetition is, doing your affirmations daily, doing your visualizations daily. And here it is, my mother gave me one of the key principles at a very young age. So I put that in that book because when I realized what was happening, I'm realizing that most of the successes came from the times when I was very competent, going over my information over and over again, and then acting on that information continuously until I got into a flow state. And my mother helped me with that. That's one of the things she taught me as a child that I took into my adulthood that was running in my paradigm that I didn't even know existed. So I kind of put that out there. Some of the things our parents said, we have to go back and revisit. My relationship with my mom wasn't the greatest because I was the first kid. And the first kid is always, you're going to get it right. all my mistakes, you're not making it. We're going to get it right today, right? And nobody's going anywhere until it's done. So I was the first kid. But it was so cool because my mother told me when I was a kid, she said, when you get older, you're going to call me and apologize. And so she said, when you get older and you have your own kids, you're going to apologize. So since I've become an adult, I've called my mother at least 7 times to apologize. But what's so awesome is she also has reciprocated a lot of that by telling me, hey, I realized a couple of things that I told you raising you up, and some of the things I was a little too firm on, a little too harsh on. And I'm also sorry because I missed the boat a couple of times as well. And that was very therapeutic for both of us to know we've come into this mature state where we can understand the differences, understand the time frame. But the lessons that my mother gave me, and that's just one of them, it was so major. And I'm like, man, I had access to $10 million coaching as a child, which is so cool. So I relinquished the mic.
And here's the thing, it's really interesting as I'm listening to you talk and some of the things you're saying, Bobby, and I look at you today, I'm like, yep, that's you right there. Bobby's a person who can recite some shit. This dude, man, this dude, when he locks in or something or in the flow state, this brother right here, boy, I was like, damn.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's amazing how, you know, those things that your mom has taught you has made, like I said, a major imprint and really shape who you become today. Because as you're speaking, I can see you in everything you're saying. Yeah, I can see you in everything you're saying. That's a beautiful thing. Yeah, so we heard from the great Wayne Moody, the world changer. We heard from the doctor. You know, his mom prescribed some repetition for him that has served him well to be in the flow state. And so now we're going to go to, you know, we're going to leave the producer next. And of course, then I'm going to have the Love Jones to kind of wrap up the heart flavor that we're speaking about tonight. So I want to hear from the producer, man. I know that there's going to be something special that he's going to drop tonight because he always shares something special, man. He's like great storyteller. So what you got for us, Mr. Producer?
So lessons from my mom, man.
Yeah.
I was trying to decide on which way to go, but I you know, me and my mom had two types of relationships. We had the youth relationship, the little boy growing into a man relationship. And then we had the relationship when I moved back home in my 30s. But when I look at my mom, she had her first child at 19, her second child at 21, her third child at 23, her fourth child at 27, her fifth child at 32. Like my mom's life was around her children. And she was a very strict disciplinarian. And when I moved back home, one of the things I saw was a different woman. She wasn't this hard, you know, disciplinary woman. And I'm looking like, who is this woman? Right. And, and one of the things that she really taught me was, especially when I was going, you know, having this drug addiction thing that was on my back, right? She really taught me the ability to change. To become something greater. And although she had she you know, life didn't, I believe life didn't deal my mom the greatest of hands. And I understand that she didn't understand the power that she had. With like a lot of people don't have the awareness. But what she did have, she was a sweetheart. And if you knew her, and the funny thing is my mom had this really if you see a picture of her, people would look at her picture and say, oh, your mom looked like she don't play. But to know her, she was a sweetheart. She was a sweetheart. And so I have that hard exterior that she had, but you know, soft on the inside, you know, just like mom. And that's one of the lessons she taught me on how to become better and at who I am as an individual. I really looked at her example and saw that in her. And although she passed away in 2016 at the age of 64, she was young when she passed away. It's so funny. I can still see when I operate on a daily basis. And funny, my mom's name was Susie Q. And just today, one of my friends said, there goes Susie Q. And he didn't even meet my mother. But I have some of her personality in me. And so she's still here with me, you know? So she really, and she also taught me how to stand up for myself. My dad was more of a laid back kind of person. He wasn't really, you know, if his burger was messed up, he wouldn't send it back. My mom, she's sending it back and she letting the manager know. And so that's me, you know, so she taught me how to stand up for myself. And I really appreciate that about her.
Wow. I love the, you know, when you share, you acknowledge that, you know, life didn't always deal your mom the best hands. And you acknowledge that, you know, she did the best that she could do. And she may not have been aware of her power. And so oftentimes I think we become adults and sometimes we have to look back and ask our parents, if we still have our parents around, ask them their story, get to know them a little bit, because you realize that, hey, they really did the best they could do. Some of us may have some, you know, rough patches with our parents. And, you know, I'm glad to see that Bobby got an opportunity to have that real mature conversation with his mom to really level set some of the emotions that they were feeling, and that's great. And so for some of you guys in the group who may not have that, I think Wayne talked about, if the person has passed away, write a personal letter, right? If the person is still here, have that conversation, because as Lamont was saying, sometimes they're unaware of the impact they may have had on you in the things that they've said or things that they've done. And so that's key right there. But yeah, the great Sean is here. We're going to bring him on the stage. And of course, we're going to have Sean, what's going on, champion?
Can you hear me okay?
We can hear you loud and clear. We've had some amazing shares, man. And thank you so much for joining the panel tonight, joining with us and to share, some of the lessons you had with your mom. We're going to jump to Dr. Love Jones right now. And of course, we're going to save you to come up next for your share. Looking forward to that. But we're just talking about the importance of, having these conversations with our parents, if they're still here with us, to get to know them and understand, why they made the decisions they made. Where was the conditions and environment that they came out of? Because we get to have more compassion for them when we understand them, right? And that's something that Lamont kind of shared relative to his share about his mom. So beautiful stuff. So Dr. Love Jones, talk to us, man. I want to hear from you and the lessons you've learned from your mom.
All right, what's going on, everybody? Here's some lessons. I've learned plenty. I'm grateful to have the kind of relationship I have with my mom to this day. I love her and I care for her. And one of the things I learned from her is two valuable things I'm going to bring up. First thing is not how you do. It's not what you do, but the how. The how matters, and how you present yourself, how you do things, having a level of tact with everything you do, putting your all behind it, but not sweating repulsively in the process of doing it, showing that level of class, that grace. That's something I learned from my mom and also my grandmother, who on Sunday turned the age of 99. I got those lessons from her. So another thing I learned from my mother is to always to persevere. No matter what happened in my mom's life, she always persevered. She always kept going forward. Whether things was good, things was bad, things was not great. When she went through depression, she kept going. So when I went through depression, I learned to keep going. Some of the things that I had to learn, and the person I became today, is seeing my mom never giving up, never letting herself go completely. She continued to progress forward. And for me, I may not have it all. I may lack some things. I may be working towards those things. But the one thing I never did is give up on me. And never give up on the things that I want or anything I want out of my life. And I get that from my mom. I get that from there. So the person I am today, author, the coach, all of that would not be who I am if it wasn't for my mom. And I cannot I'll be remiss to not mention my grandmother, who plays a major part in raising me and me being the man I am as well. So I honor both of them. I relinquish the mic.
Man, I love that. So you're not just only honoring the mom. You understand that there's a legacy to it. There's a legacy to it. Because oftentimes, depending on the community that you come in, your mom and your grandmother raised you, right? Your grandmother played a major part as kind of like your second mom in a sense, right? So that's beautiful, man. And I think what she has instilled in you is a sense of excellence, right? Always striving to be excellent, not perfect, but to be excellent in the things that you do, right? Yes. Because obviously the way you show up matters, and the way you show up can make a difference for yourself and for other people. So that was a beautiful share, my brother. Thank you for honoring your mom in this stage and being an example in your own life in honoring her as you show up and continue to, help people to level up in their life. So beautiful stuff. So we have Sean on. We want to get Sean to share. Thank you again for sharing and being here with us, my brother. Talk to us, man, about some of the lessons you've learned from your mom, man. We want to hear you.
Well, that's pretty. After some of those stories, man, it's amazing the different stories you get to hear with different men and how their mothers molded them. You know, my mom and my dad would have been married 61 years this year. My mom just passed in February, as most of you guys know, and my dad passed a couple of years ago. So they spent most of their life together. But I learned a lot from watching them together through this. I call it their secret love because because they didn't always get along. There was a lot of clashing going on, but there was a deep love there at the same time. And I learned that part from my mom and her I wouldn't say submissiveness, but her, you know, putting up with a lot of stuff she probably didn't need to or should maybe not have, but to keep, you know, they put the epitome of keeping a family together is what I think about. So the lessons out of that I got was there were certain things and traits that I did not want. And so and I knew I had them in me. I could feel them. I could see them coming out. So I was very careful not to let those things come out. And two other little things. Well, not two things. My mom they were both born in the late 30s. So they went through World War II as youngsters. My dad's father was too old to go to war, and so was my mom's, but he went and joined his young buddies and went over to World War II anyway, joined the troops over there. So she grew up in that environment and depression with very, very little. And interestingly enough, you would think that a waste not, want not mindset, but that wasn't the case, man. The fridge was always full. This pantry was packed, jammed. And maybe that was a result of her going through some of that. And I find myself sometimes doing that too, making sure that I've got stacks of food that could probably last me a year in the pantry and stuff. And it's just, you know, it's just me and Carolyn now. Our kids are growing out. But the one trait I wish I had more of was picking up on other people's character. And I know probably every one of our moms had this trait when they would say, "Don't hang out with that guy." and I tell you, everyone that she pointed out with that, she was right.
Spot on.
And we still hung out with them, but usually got into some sort of trouble. But yeah, and I don't have that trait that I wish I had a little more of. I mean, she could look at him and know there was something going on with that person. It was amazing. But yeah, just a few little tidbits. Thanks for letting me share, guys, and I relinquish the mic.
Yeah. No, thanks for that, man. You know, like I said, all the different stories, man, just come together to make just a great buffet of stories and things that, you know, so many guys in the community can relate to. And, you know, we've had, of course, talks about, you know, determination and protection. And we've talked about repetition. And we talked about, you know, just being the great protector and the love and showing about excellence. And so many great stories, man, things that, you know, I didn't know about many of you guys. And I think this is what the great thing about having these talks, because as men express themselves, you get to dispel this whole idea that you know, you're not alone. You're not alone in the experiences that you've had. You're not alone in the lessons that you've learned or some of the questions that you have about yourself or just your world. I'll share real quick. I learned from my mom. You know, I'm laughing because as I listen to all you guys and I see who you are today, you know, we all are such a representation, like a blueprint of the things that our mom has taught us in some degree, right? And I'm no different. My mom was a teacher. She still is a teacher for been a teacher for over 30 years, right? She's a teacher now in the Virgin Islands. And so I watched my mom growing up, you know, always in the teaching profession, always to be an educator, always, you know, striving to educate, you know, the community. And so, you know, I look at myself today and I'm like, I look at my name, they call me the professor. Like, you know, they call me the professor. I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense, right? But I also want to take it to another level too, which is that's the positive. But then, you know, I also want to talk about some of the things that's not so positive. You know, my mom, and I'm going to say something and may seem like, oh, I can't believe you said that about your mom. But, you know, my mom can also be very, very negative, right? And I don't blame her for that. What I mean is, you know, Lamont talked about something, which is when you get to understand what your parents have gone through or the conditions that they have come out of, you get to understand why they are the way they are. There's nothing wrong with my mom being negative. I used to make it wrong, but one year I sat down with her and I asked about her upbringing. I asked about, what was she able to do when she was a kid, and I was shocked at the experiences my mom had. I was shocked at the things that she went through, and I can understand why she showed up the way she showed up. And why there's there can be some negativity in there, and so it allowed me to kind of release this need to sometimes not even communicate with her because of the negative conversation that she indulges in. But what I realized is that that part of her was something that I also received, and as Sean was talking about, there's certain things he's trying to guard himself against by not developing, but it's in there. So for me, that negative reaction to certain situations, and when things happen first, going to the negative, that's in me as well. And so over the years, I've had to really work on myself with those things. So lesson, of course, in being a teacher and find the details and being an educator was great. And then I also find greatness in the fact that because of the experience, how my mom would show up, I also got it, but it allowed me to explore more of myself. It allowed me to grow. It allowed me to have to peel back the layers of why, I was negative in certain situations, and really ask a lot of questions. And so it has helped me to grow. So all in all, what I'm saying is, whether experiences are positive or sometimes experiences as we view them are not so positive, you still get to learn something from it. You get to become who you are today. You get to become of service as a result of this transformation you've gone through. Because my negativity that I've gone through, the constant, being vigilant of the negative conversations has helped me to become very effective with deal with other people. And so I thank my mom for, giving me that gift, if you will, and give all of us the gifts we got from my mom, so we can show up as the people who are today. So that's my share. And I know we at 7:27 right now. Everybody got a chance to kind of share. Want to see if anybody in the audience, had anything they wanted to share or just kind of point out. And if not, we'll just have, of course, the great Bobby B do the inspiration injection. But before we do that, did we have anyone who wanted to, any last words that you wanted to share? Any things that you heard that was kind of on your heart?
I got something real quick, and I'll be quick with it. You mentioned some of the flaws, the character aspects of your mom being negative, and understanding what it is. And I want to lead the message to everybody is this: our moms or parents, just period, they had to figure it out just the same way we had to figure it out. So the same grace we want to give us, give them the grace. All of us don't always have the greatest relationship with our parents or stuff like that. But one thing they did is give you life and a chance at life. And as long as they're breathing, you're breathing, things can always improve. That is my thoughts. That's it.
Yeah. I 100% agree with you. Go ahead, Sean. Oh, you got Lamont.
And what I also wanted to add is, one of the things I had to do in forgiving my parents is add this layer of, if they knew better, they would have done better. Mm-hmm. And that really, really helped me to release a lot of things, because I know, had they had the knowledge on how to do it better, they would have. They just didn't. And so that gives me a big relief, and just to let it go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Letting go. I think that's a word for today, or two words for today, is to let go. Because oftentimes we're holding on to so many things, and as men we stuff things in. And again, I honor you fellas for being an example of sharing, so other guys can feel secure in sharing themselves as well. So all right, Bobby B, let's go ahead and have the inspiration injection before we go ahead and let the guys out.
Appreciate it. And Darren, I wanted to say that's right up your alley with the whole teaching. Listening to you, Lamont, if you can catch that in the chat, that'd be cool. Yeah, but I was listening to you, Darren. I'm like, man, this is like spot on, bro. The need to make sure we understand, and you always say, Stephen Covey says, seek first to understand and then to be understood. And it's like, you say it so much, right? I hear that repetition, right? So it's sticking. But that's what's so cool about it is that, you know, the parents have left that signature on us, right? And it's up to us to, again, eat the meat, spit out the bone. We have a choice in what we keep and what we get rid of. If it doesn't serve you, get rid of it, right? It's just weighing you down, slowing you down. It's what you don't want, don't need, can't use. So get rid of it. The things that we love and admire and respect and want to honor, those are the pieces that we can take with us and use that to propel us and gain that momentum to become the person that we want to become in life. So I just want to throw that tidbit out there, Darian. That was spot on. Appreciate you guys tonight for watching CF Talks. This is where we have heart level conversations that lead to transformation. You guys, we're so excited. We have the Unleash Your Riches. It's going to be coming up. Like Darian mentioned earlier, it's going to be starting in July. So get ready. You want to be unleashed, then you want to join us in July. So check it out. That news is going to be posted inside of the group. So pay attention for that. Again, we appreciate you guys for showing up, not just for us, but we appreciate you for showing up for yourselves to advance, to dig in, to get that self-mastery, the accountability, the resources and tools so that you can grow. And as Dr. Love Jones always says, so that you can level up. Guys, that's our show for tonight. Inspiration Injection. Life doesn't come with a manual. It comes with a mother. I'm Bobby B, Darian Hill. We got Wayne Moody, Sean Fleming, Dr. Love Jones, Lamont Quinn. CM Rudy LaRose is always in the building, baby. Remember what we say here, confidence factor, in everything that you do, make sure that you keep it
heart level.
See you guys next week.